It is now pushed.
Okay. Everybody, welcome to the podcast. I'm climbing down these ladders from a gigantic slide, which is burning my ass because it's made out of metal, and it's midday over here, so fuck me, right?
Climb these
Oh,
nuts.
haha, funny man. All right, I am down. What's up, bro?
I am always down, except when I'm not around. This makes me feel look like a clown.
All right, that's enough driving.
See you around.
So did you see the video I sent you?
Yep, makes me feel like we're going round and round.
Yeah, man. You wanna tell me like what you thought about it?
Nah, first I want you to tell me what you think about it. Because
Um,
that guy touched a lot of things. It was not really that well structured. So I'd
it's not
rather,
well structured, but so basically the video was about how mm, society's like failed men as a whole, and how like men are just quitting now. Like we're done with this shit. Um, it's the era of weak men, basically. But there are exceptions out there. People like that guy who's actually going out in late nature trying to learn. Um, it's also like he's lost the magic of his childhood. Like it's just gone because of a shit society. Um, overall. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. That's what I took away from it anyway.
hmm, I guess we can
Like
expand
people,
on. Yep.
like what I was saying was like, I guess everybody feels like we've been cheated out of 3 years of our life because of COVID and lockdowns and whatnot. So it was just like, hey, we're going to work, we're going to university, and then 3 years go by, and it's like, what the fuck? That felt like yesterday. I've wasted 3 years of my life.
Yep.
Do you feel the same? Like, is that what you also feel like COVID year was?
Hmm. Kind of yes, and kind of no as well. I still had a lot of things going on during COVID, like so many exams and everything.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
my studies were kind of hindered because of it, but
Mm.
yeah, but it's it was a weird time. Yes.
So you don't feel like you've been cheated out of 3 years. You think like you've lived it to the fullest?
No,
No.
but like that's just how it was.
Yeah. That's
Like
just
how
basic acceptance at that point. Like it is what it is. What can you do?
yeah, how would you have
I think that's what
prevented
the
that,
video.
or who would you blame for the situation? There's nothing
Yeah.
you can
Well,
do about it.
wasn't there like a recent conspiracy that U.S. purposely orchestrated the virus to bring down China's population? So I guess we can blame the U.S.
Yeah, well, we don't really know the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what the video was actually missing. It's like he was complaining about losing 3 years, and he doesn't feel like he's grown up at all in those 3 years. It's just like, dude, did you even try?
Yep.
Make the most of a bad situation. Who, what do you think you did that got you to that understanding of like, hey, it is what it is. Like, what can you do? And then still, like, you moved on, basically.
Mm. That realization actually came a lot later. I
Hmm.
lived a few years outside of the pandemic thing in a normal environment in my college. I have a bunch of
Hmm.
friends, and Not even friends, just like people I interacted with like regularly, going to classes and stuff, seeing
Yeah,
people around me basically. That
yeah.
made me realize that okay, yes, this whole pandemic thing was a very weird environment. It's not normal, and I had gotten used to it for because of that time duration that I had spent inside my house.
Hmm.
But then I slowly adapted right back.
Right, right. Mhm.
What about you?
So basically, you contrasted like what was considered normal at that time versus what was actually like supposed to be normal, and then you came to the realization like, oh, you did make the best of that situation in the end. Is that, am I getting that right?
I did.
Oh, you didn't.
Yep. I mean, it was super weird. I mean, it's hard to describe honestly. It's
Yeah,
hmm,
yeah.
you,
For me, it was like the best 2 years of my life personally, because I didn't come back home, right? Like I was abroad. I was in university housing and just I did my own thing. It was a really good time because classes were also canceled and there was nobody else around in my flat. So I was just living alone for 6 months. Um, and I could just do whatever the fuck I wanted.
you know what?
Without like any
Yeah.
interruptions.
Sorry.
So that was uh, I didn't have any interruptions at all. So it was kind of the best time in my life because there was no input from anywhere else. And you know what controls are, right? For like scientific experiment.
No.
So like if you're doing an experiment where like a chemical is supposed to change a different color, you have you have the same chemical in a different environment where it doesn't change anything at all. You don't add anything to it. So you can say, hey, look, I contrasted this other result by adding this chemical versus the same chemical without any other input. So you know that you're contrasting it against something and it didn't just change color out of nowhere. So that's a control.
Yeah. So how do you relate this to your situation?
Right. So the my point was that I was in a controlled environment. There weren't too many factors for anything, right? It was just, hey, you're staying inside, you're cooking food, you're living your life. But then you could add stuff to it and then subtract stuff from it, and you could actually feel or see um, whether it was working for you or not, whether you felt better or not, what kind of experiences you wanted out of life, what you didn't want from life. It was a good time to just treat it as like an experiment and figure out what you wanted.
But you didn't have many people around you at that time, did you?
No, I didn't, but I did have, I think I had 3 or 4 people around me that I got very close to over time. So that was nice. Aside from that, I was left to my own devices.
Hmm.
And the big thing is it wasn't family, because if you're with family, then you're kind of stuck in their ways of doing something, not your own. So um, I had full freedom over what I wanted to do.
Hmm. Makes sense. So that period was
Hmm.
pretty insightful for you.
Yeah, it was a very insightful point in time, and I think I got the most out of it because I genuinely wanted to be away from my family and also like live on my own without university just to figure myself out. So that was like a blessing for me in a sense.
Right.
You don't get a lot of chances like that in life.
Hmm.
You came back home, right?
Or like right now?
No, no, no. I mean, like you went back home, right? During COVID.
Yeah. I was at
Yeah.
home.
So you were what?
Yeah, I was at home during the entire duration of the pandemic.
Yeah. You think that probably affected how much progress you could make if compared to if you were living by yourself?
But yes, it was honestly, I describe it as a shifting of goals or priorities at that time, and that wasn't
Hmm.
even in my control. Like I
Hmm.
started giving more value to the things I thought were important back then, like listening to podcasts, writing my book, and that kind of thing. I got into philosophy during that
Oh
time.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if the pandemic hadn't happened, I would have had a good environment for my studies, and my priorities would have been pretty straightforward. Like, yeah, I have this exam to give in 2 years, 2 years later. So I would just have to
Hmm.
study for it hard and, do some things on the side. But mainly, my priority would have been the exam.
Right, right. So here's the thing, like in the video, because that's what mainly what we're comparing, right? In the video, the guy says that, hey, it looks like these 3 years have been robbed from me, and I don't feel any older. Like I'm 20 now, but I still feel like I'm 16. Um, like that time hasn't passed for me yet. But for me, and I don't know about you, but it feels like I've actually grown up way more in that time compared to not at all.
Hmm. During that time.
Yeah, because like, okay, he's complaining about not aging more than what he was. Like he's not experiencing enough in life to call himself a 20-year-old at the moment. But I, dude, I went from the mindset of a 19-year-old to a 70-year-old in less than 6 months. Is
Describe
at least
that.
what it feels like.
Describe how you would how would you describe a 19-year-old's mind versus that of a 70-year-old, and how would you think that transition happened for you in the 6 months?
Uh, that's a loaded question. Dude. Um,
Yeah, let's start with the 19-year-old mind.
okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? I want chicken nuggets. I'm gonna sleep at 4 o'clock, and I want to fuck bitches. What's up?
Okay, that's an image. But I would say that's how you saw the average 19-year-old at your university, right?
I'd say that's an average 19-year-old anywhere.
Right.
Oh, were you not the same?
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, I know you're vegetarian, but like, imagine your ideal 19-year-old life. Like, what would it be? I think that's what people want to compare it to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, what do you want when you're 19 years old? A job paying you way too much money for doing way too little, eating whatever you want, but trying to have a six pack and then not working at all, trying to, I don't know, just instant gratification all the time.
Yep.
And also, you're okay with like fucking people over at that point because you know, like, you probably won't see them again.
Yeah.
You're only 19.
But how would you quantify that kind of mindset? Like, is it a good thing, a bad thing?
Uh, I don't think it's quantifiable. I mean, if you want to say in terms of maturity, it's pretty low in the 30s. If you want to compare it to, I don't even know how you can quantify this.
Because I personally think that it's a necessary phase that every person should go through in life. Because it makes you
Oh
really,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I'm not denying that at all. You do need to go through that so that you understand how stupid you are later on.
yes.
Yeah. Uh, and then you ask, what a 70-year-old mindset is like. Basically, I'm angry, I'm bitter, and I'm fed up with everything, and my knees hurt. Bro, seriously, I can't believe I'm 23 and well, 22 still, but I can't believe this early on my knees hurt this much. And it's
Mm.
all from sitting down in one place all throughout COVID time.
Yeah.
It's like everything's online. I fucked up my eyes, I fucked up my knees, I fucked up my back. It just, everything hurts. It's like being a 70-year-old. And it's all from sitting down.
Mm.
Did none of that happen to you?
Not really.
Lucky bastard.
I mean, how um, how often were you sitting down for like very long?
Oh, dude, long periods of time. Um, during my dissertation. Yeah, you've done a dissertation, right?
No,
Or you're going to?
no,
No, you don't have to. Not even later on.
no.
Lucky. All right. Well, so it's basically like a project that you have to do throughout the year. Write a nice long report on it. Hopefully, it means something in the future. Most of the time, it doesn't. But uh, yeah, when I was working on that, in the last month of working on it, from April to May, uh, I think I was sitting down 16 hours a day, and actually more, because in the last 3 days of submission, I didn't get up from my chair even once, and I didn't sleep. So I was just on the chair for 72 hours,
Mm.
except to piss and poop. I didn't have a shit bucket like like those addicted gamer streamers do. I just have a shit bucket.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't really that extreme for me in the pandemic time period. I kind of
Yeah,
always had something, not really exercising, but like every once in a while I used to go and walk around or just do some pull-ups or something. I had
yeah,
that
yeah,
freedom, unlike you.
yeah.
I
The thing
was,
was, even during lockdown, it was basically like I was living my life before the lockdown, because I never left the house. I didn't do many athletic things at all. I was always studying, just not taking care of myself in a way. Um, it really changed after that.
mm,
Did you have like any wake up calls after that? Oh shit, this is what I need to do.
after the pandemic.
Yeah, after the pandemic. Did you have
Yes.
any moments where you resolved to do something?
Well, I had to unpack this whole toxic mindset that the pandemic had given me. This happened through the course of my college years. Like it's my third year right now, and
Yeah.
yeah, it took a while to unpack all of that together.
What was the toxic mindset?
Well, that's a really big question. I'll start with okay. So here's the thing. When I came to college, when I enrolled with this degree, this engineering degree, I wasn't sure that I wanted to do this professionally. I was just like, hey, this has some good opportunities. Everyone's going this way. I'll go this way too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
most people at this age, like 18, 19, they don't know what
Yeah.
they want to do, so they just do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, mm, like I said, during a pandemic, I discovered a lot of different priorities, right? Writing a book, philosophy, this, that. So when I came to college, it was kind of like, hey, I don't really want to do this degree, so why should I give my all to this? Why not give my all to this other thing?
Yeah.
But then there's this whole impending thing like, hey, you have all these projects coming up, quizzes, etc. So you should study
Yeah.
for that, right? But you're not doing that. instead trying to focus on this other thing. So I was kind of stuck in the middle because of that. This whole thing was a
And
mindset issue, right?
are you still stuck in that, by the way?
No.
No. Okay. So do you still feel like you want to do the degree and like this is something you can do for a long time?
Yes, I'll get to that in a minute. It's a pretty
Okay. Okay.
right. So yeah, throughout the first and second years, all this happened, and yeah, I was stuck in the middle. I kind of beat myself up because I was getting good results, and I couldn't really focus on whatever else I wanted to do, like the book and everything, because of my shitty results. And you know how it is, like if you're enrolled in a university, there's things that you have to do all the time, and if they're not going well, you kind of attach your um, self-esteem to that. I guess that's the word.
Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
if
get
it
what you
if
mean.
if it's not going well, then you might like, okay, there's some people here that do their own thing, right, outside of
Mm-hmm.
engineering, and they do it well. So they're getting results in that other thing, and that is kind of like a positive feedback loop for them, right? So they don't really care if they get shitty marks or whatever because they have this other thing going on, and they have a different future, right? Possibilities.
Yeah.
If they want, they can just switch to this other thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't really have that, then you're stuck, and then yeah, whatever else I described. So, um, what was I saying?
You were saying about like attaching your self-esteem to something in university and how it impacted your uh, other parts of your life.
Yes. So that's how I would describe the toxic part of this. Like
Okay.
you keep beating yourself up for something you're not even doing or putting effort into.
Oh yeah, it's like being a perfectionist, but also lazy. So you don't want to start anything because it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah. I
Yeah, yeah, I
hated
get
I
that.
I hated having that kind of a mindset too.
Yeah,
It was so
I get that.
disruptive.
Uh-huh.
And then there was this whole mindset of me that like everyone else around me is doing something, is like doing well in their studies and also doing these 10 other things. They're good at everything,
Yeah.
and they don't really simultaneously. I was thinking like, okay, these guys don't really care about me. Like होता है ना, how do you describe that?
I'm not exactly sure what you mean.
Well, basically I used to think that okay, nobody really cares about me here. Like
Yeah, it's
I
just the
can't
general.
possibly make friends here because I have no worth, that kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, just like self-confidence issues.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I get that. I've had that my whole life. Like like I haven't had that many friends. Um,
yeah,
yeah, and it's just in my case, I did get bullied, and that played a huge role. Uh, in like lowering my self-esteem. Uh, but yeah, that holds you back, thinking like, oh, I can't make friends because I'm not worth anything. Right? Like I'm not bringing anything to the friend group. I'm just there to exist, and in fact, I'm like mooching off them in some ways, and that's not okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
And yeah, there was this other thing, I had bad company.
That'll do it.
Yep. I don't want to go into detail, but basically, I have this kind of
You can go in
personality.
detail.
Sorry?
You can go in detail. That's all right.
Yeah, I mean, it will take a little bit of time to formulate what I want to say. I don't want to say the wrong
That's
thing.
fine. You can. That's why the magic of editing exists.
Right, so, yeah, this one guy, narcissist, basically,
Yeah, yeah.
he had a lot of warped views about reality. And,
Yeah.
I used to kind of have this personality which attracted narcissists. That's what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very weird thing. It would take me a little bit of time to describe what it used to be like, what I used to be like, why I attracted
Mm.
those kind of people. But basically, this guy was like he kind of
Sorry.
his warped version of reality started seeping into my own. I started believing what he believed, and that was completely like, bogus. And
Right.
yeah,
So, so let me get this right. Like, because you didn't have any self-confidence. Well, I didn't either, but so in this situation, you didn't have any self-confidence, and you thought like other people must be doing something right. So this guy rubbed off on you, and you thought, hey, look, if I need to make friends, this is one way, and you started emulating him. Am I getting that right?
mm, kind of. But this guy was more like a leech. Like
Oh,
even at
okay.
times when I didn't want to talk to him, he would used to like just come and like barge into my room, just like, hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Buttercups? What the fuck you doing?
But yeah, even if I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
want to learn from him or whatever, I still did involuntarily.
All right. So that twisted your personality in the end.
Yeah. Back then,
Uh,
I didn't have the strength to say no. Just like, just get the fuck out of my room, that kind of thing.
yeah.
Right. So, hmm. So yeah, a bunch of these factors and how I got out of it. That was the question. So yeah, so towards the end of my second year, I okay. So how do I describe this? I read this quote. The idle mind is the devil's workshop, and that kind of really encapsulated my first and second years. So by the end of second year, I was pretty like done with all of this. I was like, okay, if I have something in front of me, I'll just do it, and give it like my best.
Mm.
So during my fourth semester, the final exams, I gave it my all. I didn't see because in the final exams they ask you like everything from the semester that you've learned. And if you haven't studied that well throughout the semester, then you can't really do well. But I still tried my best. I still managed to cover up everything mostly. I did much better than I had ever done in my college, but it still wasn't that good. But that thing, that um, this small success, kind of gave me hope, at least. That okay, that I can still, I'm still capable of something. Like I can still study and do well if I want to. And so basically, how I got out of this whole thing is that I I realized that I was enrolled in this college, so I should make good of it. This thing is
Right.
in front of me.
Right. What was the point in life where you decided to make the decision though? Because I know like some people want to. Well, for me it was like I hit rock bottom at one point. I was literally like this was for 1 month of my life. As soon as COVID started, I was eating chicken nuggets, bread, and butter. Like that was my whole diet. I used to sleep at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, wake up at 1 or 2, play video games, and then just watch The Office until 5 o'clock in the morning again. Like that was my whole routine.
Mhm.
And what got me out of it was like one day I was so disgusted by myself. I was just like, fuck this. Uninstalled everything. Like literally, it did a full factory reset on my laptop and my phone. and deleted like every TV show I'd ever downloaded, all of it just gone. Um, Even my fridge, I threw everything I had in my fridge out, and then went grocery shopping for the first time in my life. Uh at this was in the second semester of my first year, just like the start of COVID,
Right.
and that was the moment that got me out of it. Like I was so disgusted at myself. I was like, might as well do something about this. Fuck it.
Hmm.
What was your like trigger to do all this? That's what I'm trying to.
Well, I didn't really. For me, it wasn't really about blame, but it was more about like responsibility. Like, hey, I don't know what fucked my life up. Like, I do, but I don't care what fucked my life up. But it is now my responsibility to make up for it, and then slowly cut off all the things that did fuck up my life.
Why do you think it's your responsibility though?
Why is it not?
No, I'm just asking. Trying to understand you.
Well, I mean,
If
nobody
somebody
else.
else fucked it up, why isn't it their fault? Like they should make up for it. Why not? Why is it your fault?
Well, I guess in some cases it isn't your okay. In some cases you can't help being fucked by someone else, but in most cases, like my own, I had the control. But okay, so you know this term in psychology, learned helplessness.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of thing. But it really was in my control at that time to just have cut off all the negative things and whatever else I didn't want in my life. I just
Yeah, but what I'm trying to ask is like, okay, I get your point, right? Like, it is learned helplessness and all the negative things, but how do you recognize that the things that you are doing are negative? Because you might be super successful with women, you might be eating like shit, but you still have a decent physique. Like, how do you know what you're doing is wrong and negative?
mm, that's a tough question.
What was that? What was that moment that made you realize that this is not good for me? No matter how things look on the outside, this is not good for me.
I don't know actually. Like I guess it was a couple of different things. Like I started doing some positive habits.
Well, again, like, how do you know that they were positive? That's what I'm trying to ask. 'Cause, like, to me, what I was doing was perfectly fine. 'Cause I was playing video games. I was watching The Office. I was on the dopamine treadmill, right? Uh, but I didn't realize it because I thought, oh, you know what? This is great. Like, this is how my life should go. I'm doing just fine. But I had a moment that made me realize, oh shit, this is not good. It's not good. Like, how do you know that that was the right or wrong thing? Because people might be doing those things and still going through life is okay. But how do you know like what you're doing is wrong?
I don't know how to answer that. Like,
We're back to
do you have an answer?
existentialism. I have a theory. I don't have an answer.
Go ahead.
Um, well, the first one is that we as a society decide what's good for us and what isn't. So like even when you're
Oh,
when you're
sorry, sorry. I have made my phone in silent mode now. Please continue.
so first of all, yeah, because when you're a kid, and you're like 4, you've learned to walk a little bit. You're going to your mom while she's trying to cook, and she's like, "Nope, don't come close. Do not touch the knife." So you now know like handling knives is not good for you, especially when you're untrained. But later on, when you learn to use them, they're still dangerous, but you still know how to use them. So now that's a good thing instead of a bad thing. So first of all, like our culture tells us what's good and what isn't. So we grew up in a society where sleeping around uh, is frowned upon, and that's good. I think that's good. That defines uh, a good thing instead of a bad thing. Like it's just our view. Because if you think about it, the prisoner who's killed a bunch of people, but not killed, but let's say he's done a lot of tax fraud. But he slept with hundreds of women, has hundreds of kids, but isn't there for any of them. He is more biologically successful, technically, than uh world's richest man with no kid.
Right.
He's more biologically successful, but as a culture, he's done horrible things. Uh, so we condemn him. So culture also, like society, tells us what's good and isn't good. That's number one. So like a diet of chicken nuggets only, that's not good for you, is what society tells us. That's one. Second, you just feel shit. Just listen to your body. If this is not working, you're doing something wrong. So if you eat chicken nuggets all the time, you're gonna feel like crap. And you're gonna wake up no energy, you're gonna sleep no energy, you're gonna work out no energy. Nothing. You're gonna start growing a belly, because it's all carbs and really bad fat, and you're gonna die quicker, which is where culture's supposed to, which is where society's supposed to tell you, hey, look, this other guy who only ate chicken nuggets and bread, he died early. Now, if you don't want to do that, don't eat it. That's where society comes into play. That's where culture comes into play. Like it's just tradition passed down, tradition and knowledge passed down in that form of a society. But if it
Mm.
doesn't work for you, why the fuck are you doing it?
Makes sense.
That's how I knew. Uh, at the end of the month, I felt like absolute dog shit. Like I was on the bed, you know, uh, just eat. I've just eaten 16 chicken nuggets with some tomato ketchup, and my laptop's on in the corner. Like it's pretty late into the night. I don't think I've seen the sun in a week, and I feel like shit. I feel like a horse just trampled me. You know,
Right.
that's what I knew. Oh, I need to get my shit in order. And for you, like I'm trying to understand what was the trigger moment that made you the person you are now. What made you change?
Still can't really extrapolate a single point. Like for me, it was like small changes throughout. Like how you describe, like if it doesn't make you feel better, then don't do it. That kind of a thing. So I
Yeah, yeah.
started off like that. I started meditating, exercising. I was still exercising semi regularly, and then I was like, oh yeah, I had a change of company. I
Oh, sorry.
met a few, right.
Yeah.
I met a few good people, a few dedicated and motivated people. That I
Okay.
would say that, yeah. So pretty big
So you
factor.
meditated to figure out like what worked for you and what didn't. And then you met new people, so you had a new society to tell you like what you should be doing, what you shouldn't.
Yes,
Right. That basically fits in my theory as well.
true.
I mean, it makes sense. Like those are the two main drivers of motivation, I think.
Yeah, makes sense.
So do you agree with the video, by the way?
Which part?
Any of it. I mean, you saw the video as well. What were your uh opinion? What were your opinions, and what are your opinions now about it? You think he's right? You think he's wrong?
Mm, Well, about losing 3 years of your life.
Yeah,
Well, you did lose 3 years of your life, and it wasn't the same as any normal year that you would have had in your life.
but is it really losing if you used it to the best of your ability? It's not. I don't think it is.
Well, it really depends. Like, what if you realize, okay, what if, hmm, what if you think you were doing the right thing in the pandemic, but it turns out that you really weren't?
Well, that was my question. Like, how do you know things that you're doing are right or wrong?
Well, when you're doing it, you don't. You always learn things in retrospect, most of the time.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. Well, that's what wisdom is, right? Like, that's the whole concept of wisdom.
Yep.
You learn things the hard way, and then you tell other people they're being idiots when you see them.
Yeah.
So, do you think it was a waste of 3 years, or do you still think like you lost 3 years?
No. It really.
No, right?
I mean, it depends on how you look at those 3 years. Like, I just look at them as,
Yeah,
like, yeah, it happened. It's now a part of my
yeah,
life.
yeah. You had to go through that
Yeah.
to get where you are now. That's good. Well, I think that's good. Anyway.
Because this kind of relates to the concept of regret. Like,
Hmm.
you're basically asking, do I regret having lived those 3 years in the pandemic?
Do you?
That's not really a valid question, is it? You didn't have a choice.
No, you did. You could definitely. Everything's really a choice. I mean, look at the book we read out. Like everything's a choice. You could literally choose to kill yourself and get everything over with.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's a choice. So it's just like a Buddhist practice of just, or a Greek Stoic practice of like just accepting it, move on, whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Hey, if that's your answer, that's your answer. You know, that's what you learned.
Yep. You know,
That's good.
things,
At least you learned something.
yeah, things don't have to make sense all the time in life. You know, shit just happens.
Yeah. While I do agree with pretty much everything you just said, I do think um, instead of just saying, yeah, whatever, fuck it, you could just say, oh, how is this an opportunity? Because for me, it was an opportunity to get better.
Right, yeah.
It was also an opportunity to get worse, which thank God I didn't do.
Yep.
So it's really up to it is a choice, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, we can't really glorify or condemn those 3 years. But
Hmm.
yeah, the choice that we had and what we made of it, that was what is important.
Yeah. I don't mean to hate on that video, but I think it just sends the wrong message of like everything was just suffering, everything was bad. It wasn't. It was just you.
Yeah. What about the rest of the video?
Well, what other part of the video?
Mm, yeah,
Of like still of what?
how society's failed men.
Oh yeah, dude, everything's fucked.
So first of all, why did he think, like, what were the points in his video that made him say that society has failed men?
Uh, I don't remember for sure. Do you remember?
Oh, wanna watch it?
I don't think that's a good idea. We might get copyright strike.
Yeah, like off camera. I can pause the thing.
Can you pause OBS? Is that a
Yes.
thing? Oh, cool. Yeah, we can watch it if you want.
And I'm pausing it right now. This is break
Yeah,
time,
go for
guys. Go have your breaks. Go drink some water.
it. Grab your break. Yeah, stay hydrated or die. Let's watch this thing.
One.
All right. We're taking a quick sponsor break. This video is sponsored by both of us. So if you don't like both of us, go fuck yourself. All right. End of sponsor. Yeah. So we finished watching the video, and what was the main point that we were talking about while watching it?
Man.
Man, right? Yeah, the escapism these days. It's wrong. Yeah, it's just because there's so many distractions, and everybody's made it appealing. To get on the dopamine treadmill, and it's really easy to do that as well. But also, like, society basically is just dying, and there's no good role models to look up to. No good fraternities, no good brotherhoods, that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Which is why I think, let's say we talked a lot more during COVID here. I think it would have been a lot better, because then yours and my ideas would sort of bounce off each other, and we'd end up in a good place. But we didn't have that. We had to struggle to get here.
Yep.
And that's the kind of brotherhood that we still need. Like, there's not much of that anymore. Sorry about the noise, by the way.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. But I think, like, now because like we both struggled in kind of similar situations, that we can come together and be like, hey, you and I can be a brotherhood. Like, we can start one if we need to. We can go inspire each other. We can, if we have bad days, we can talk to each other and like help each other through it. Like, that's the whole point. We have that now because we understand its value,
Yeah.
which
I
I don't,
think
which I don't think this video is saying that, and it's just focusing on the negative stuff.
yeah. I think this guy just like is focusing on the general trend. Like we do have a brotherhood here, but in the most general scenarios, if you look at like 100 years ago, you may have a lot more genuine and deep relationships compared to now. And I think it's a really sad thing is that people in society are now attributing other people's value on the basis of their face value, I guess. Like these shallow things, like appearances, looks, and everything, reputation.
I think that's always been a part of, you know, what people value, like status. Even like the whole concept of a monarchy and nobles was that you have more status and more wealth. There was a divide between the poor and then the rich, which still exists. But hey, man, if you only want to focus on the negatives, then sure, billions of people have died as well. But also, like, on the other hand, there's a lot more people that aren't in poverty today. There's a lot more people that are being born these days. Like, there's a lot of good things as well that you can focus on. My problem with the video was when I sent it to you, I felt like shit, because like the video got me a bit depressed. And it's only later, like an hour later, that I realized that fuck this video. It's only focusing on the negative stuff, and this guy's kind of like given up, and it's because it's got
Yeah.
millions of views, and that's the problem. Like, if you have reach and you give out negative energy, I don't want to sound cuckoo, with the energy bullshit, but that's what he's doing. Like, if you send out a negative message that gets spread around quicker and easier than positive message, at least try to either like offer a solution or be positive about it. It just drove me off the fucking wall. Terrible video.
Yep. But I don't think it's that guy's fault for having made this video the way that he did. Because for him, he made what he thinks. Okay, there's this one aspect of this whole utilitarian thing. Like he thinks this video will get many clicks. It's what his fans will like, that kind of thing. But maybe it's just that he genuinely believes in this stuff, and he thinks that people should know about his ideology or whatever. I don't think him as an individual is at fault, because if he were to make a kind of different video in a different light, a positive light, then it should have started with his own self improvement. I wish I'd use that word. His own shifting of
Can I
perspectives.
just mention something? Can I just mention something?
Yep.
The guy is literally out in the middle of nowhere near a lake, climbing trees, and he's not around anybody, and he's just having the time of his life. Like, why are you sending such a negative message while you are literally enjoying yourself to the fullest at the moment?
Yep. Because he's not really enjoying himself.
I beg to differ, dude.
I mean, if he's still thinking about all this stuff and having such a negative, I mean, it's pretty nihilistic, right? The whole theme of the video.
Yeah.
And if he was indeed thinking of those things while going out, then like, was he even happy?
His brain's pretty fucked. He just needs to sit in a room and meditate for a bit.
I don't even know if that is a solution. Like it might help, yes. But like again, we come back to your theory. Culture is a pretty important thing, and it's really difficult to come out of it if everyone around you is doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Aside from this, there was one more thing. I know we didn't give this conversation a good end, or like, and this is a very abrupt segue, but I do want to say it before I forget, because I will. He was talking about like how as you get older, the time moves faster because some bullshit. I didn't even understand that part because it's so stupid. It's because he's not trying anything new. Just try something new. Time will go a lot slower. I guarantee it. Fail a little bit, you know? There's so much to do out there. You just don't have the time to do everything. So how dare you say like we're not? Like time is going slow for me. Like, are you even trying?
Yeah. And to add to that, I think that guy was really, rosy retrospection, what that is.
What was that?
Rosy retrospection.
Rosy retrospection. Like romanticizing stuff.
Yeah, romanticizing your past.
Yeah, I get that.
I think he was doing a lot of that. Like,
Yeah, I get that.
like in
Yeah,
my
there was a
childhood.
lot of that in the book.
Yeah, and I think many people do that. Like, I want to go back to my childhood. Everything was so much simpler.
But it's not that things were simpler. Things were just as bad back then. You just had nothing on your mind because you were a little kid and you were sheltered. That's the difference. Now you have to pay tax. If you even pay tax, you have to get a job. You have to do all this other crap. But back then, the reason why you romanticize it, why you think that, oh, there's not many problems in the world, is because you weren't exposed to them. You're a kid. It's sucked in like every generation.
Yeah, and you can
1950s, you
be.
had like black people were still oppressed. 1960s, some other thing happened. 1970s, war on drugs. No, 1960s was like the Cold War. 1970s was like the war on drugs. 80s had a different thing. 90s had the internet. 2010s had like financial crisis or whatever the defining negative episode was in the 2000s. 2010 had a different, like, you can say something horrible happened in every decade, but you were a kid, you had no responsibility. That's the problem.
Yeah. And honestly, I think many people do have the power or the control to be as happy or even happier in their current situation than they were in their childhood.
100%. I agree. 100%.
Like it all depends on what you value and what kind of control you have. I mean, if you don't have control over your own body, or like there are some cases where you can't really help it. I mean, even then you can
Yeah, if you're
maybe, yeah,
yeah, only if you're in a Nazi torture camp. There's no other place where somebody can tell you what to do.
yeah. In most cases, in most practical cases, like for example, if you're watching or listening to this, and you already have some kind of technology, some level of control over your life,
Yeah.
like, there are people who are happy but who don't need this kind of any kind of wealth or whatever. They just live their own lives, maybe somewhere in the
You know,
forests or whatever.
I genuinely think the simpler life you live, the happier you'll be. I genuinely think that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it depends on
Okay.
what you. Huh?
Yeah, sure. I've never heard a boy. Yeah, sure. Uh, said sarcastically in my
No,
mind.
I agree. I was just kind of, you know, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
sure.
agree mostly. I do believe that, like, if you have a set goal in your mind, if you know what your values are, then you can have a
Yeah.
minimalist or even a kind of cluttered life and still be happy, as long as you're doing that thing or working towards that thing.
Yeah, but I also think like you can wake up in the morning and just be like, okay, I'm gonna do my best to have a nice day. That's it. I mean, I get it if you're depressed or whatever. Like, you can't force yourself to do that. It's hard to do, but you can still try. You can
Yeah,
you can just try it. And every single day, like you'll reinforce that thought pattern. And one day, like the two dendrites in your brain are just suddenly going to connect. That one brain cell in your skull has finally hit the corner, like in one of those Windows screensaver things. It's gonna hit the corner. You're gonna have an idea, and like it'll sink in, man. At one point,
yeah,
like, you can go through a shit time and still be happy. Like, it's a choice.
and yeah, I think this really ties back into that the idle mind is the devil's workshop
I
because
don't know about that. I mean, the whole point of meditation is to sit idle, right? How
not
can that
idle.
be a devil's work?
It is the peaceful mind that is meditative, but the idle mind that is constantly trying to feed on into more, um, the hedonic treadmill.
Okay, I got that. I can see the difference.
At least that's how I see it. Like someone else might have a
No, I
different
can see the
perspective.
difference. That's for sure. Okay, like, because when you first said it, I was gonna disagree. Because like the whole point of meditation is to do nothing and focus on doing nothing.
Yeah,
Um, but okay, like you're still, if you're doing nothing and meditating, you're at least trying to help yourself in some way. Um, I guess the intention behind it matters. Like if you have no intention in the moment, that can be considered idleness.
yeah.
No, does that sound about right?
Intention is kind of a, yeah. I mean, sure, sure. You can say that.
Like, okay, I want to sit down. Like you gave the example of writing a book, right, earlier. Like if you want to sit down and focus on writing, but you're not doing it, that's the idle mind. But if you're sitting down brainstorming ideas with the intention of writing it, then like you can say, "Oh, I'm gonna write something," but then not do it, and that's being idle. But if you like genuinely trying to brainstorm ideas by sitting and not writing, then the intention is still there. Like you're still trying. So that's the difference, like between the idle mind and uh, meditating over something. I think the intention is the important part.
What would you say your intention is while meditating?
Hello?
Hello?
Oh yeah, your voice cut out.
Uh, an airplane passed from above me.
Hmm.
Yeah, so what is your intention when you go to meditate?
My intention when I go to meditate,
Yeah.
uh, it depends. Because like no matter what meditation you do, you're gonna end up in the same place. But I mostly do it to relax because I have a really hard time shutting my brain off. I'm like the most uh, what is it called? I don't want to say intellectual because that makes me sound smart, but I can't shut my brain off. Like it's always going, going, going. So I do it to just quiet my brain a bit.
Hmm. That's nice.
Do you know what you do?
Um, well, that's kind of. I'd have to get into the Bhagavad Gita. That's a really big topic.
Okay, yeah, we can do that next time probably. We'll see.
But yeah, so your
All right, man.
intention is to relax.
Yeah, basically.
But why do you want to relax?
Because I find I perform better when I'm relaxed, when I'm calmer.
So it's about that goal.
Yeah, it's a
And then,
performance boost for me. Like, because if
okay.
I'm calm in the gym, I can lift a lot more weights. If I'm flustered and like, at least mentally, like physically, I might be out of breath or whatever. But if I'm flustered mentally, I'll make errors in my form and then I'll injure myself, or I'll have a sprain or something. But if I'm calm, I can do it better. Or if I'm trying to write something, if I'm calm, I can think. If I'm flustered, my thoughts are all over the place. So for me, it's a performance boost.
Fair enough. And that's honestly a very good reason to meditate.
Yeah, I think so. Again, like it's your it's either society or you decide, right? Like what you want to do with your life. And to me, it feels better. My body feels better when I do it. I get a performance boost. That's how I know it's working for me, and that's how I know I should keep doing it.
Yeah.
Not like eating chicken nuggets all the time. That's not good.
Yeah. And this whole attribution to value thing, like culture
Hmm.
versus yourself, I think
Yeah.
that's a really confusing topic, and there isn't really a completely correct answer, but there are
No.
perspectives,
Well, I think there might be one objective correct answer that nobody's arrived at, but we're getting to it with different perspectives.
such as.
Well, like, okay, like, no matter what meditation you do, you end up in the same place. That's the whole point. Like, even psychedelics, you do psychedelics, you're trying to relieve yourself of some ailment, like mental or whatever. You're trying to work something out, at least in a spiritual context. But sure, like, you can use it for having fun as well, like recreationally. But if you want to think about it, why mostly they were used, they weren't used recreationally. They were used in a context to do something. Um, Meditation, like the same thing. Like you're trying to do something, you're trying to let go of your desires. For in case of Buddhism, in case of Greek Stoicism, like you're trying to do, you're trying to get control over your emotions. You're not trying. You're trying to move past the negative things, but like also enjoy the good things in life. Like I get it, but you're gonna end up in like the same not entitled, enlightened place, because that's what the Buddha was. He did his meditation, he did psychedelics, whatever, but he ended up enlightened and he was happy. Aren't we all just trying to be happy?
Yeah.
And like I think there's an objective answer somewhere. I don't think anybody's arrived to it. Maybe there's maybe if you do, you have a whole religion based on you, like Jesus or Buddha or something else or whatever.
Yeah. And I think this
Maybe
topic,
those were just what would you say?
yeah, I think this topic would be very well explored with the various aspects of Bhagavad Gita as well. Like we should have a whole
Yeah.
podcast based on the various types of religion and what teachings they all have.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Yeah. Let's do that later. Yeah.
Yep. And more like a
All
subjective
right. Cool.
thing, not really. Yeah.
Oh well, obviously everything's gonna be subjective. I mean,
What we
pretty
think
stupid.
of all those religions, not how you might interpret them or whatever, because that would
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
take way too long to cover it all up.
Yeah. Also, okay, let's try to wrap this up. Give me your best monkey noise. Oh, that's pretty good. All right, my turn. My turn. Ready?
Your mic may have cut it all out, bro.
All right. Whatever. Anyway, I had fun. We'll do this again soon, I hope.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Bye bye.
Fuck you, by the way, viewer. There's
I'm
shit
gonna
here.
throw shit at.
Are you trying to listen to a podcast? Huh? You piece of shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna find you, and I'm gonna throw poo at you. I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
I'm gonna fucking do it.
I'm gonna make you eat all that shit up.
Yeah. It's gonna make the human centipede look like a Christian Bible study. Yeah.
Heck yeah. I'm gonna freeze my poo poo and then put it in your ass.
I'm gonna put a popsicle stick in it so you can eat it like a fucking ice cream. I don't know. Just cut it. Cut the podcast.